First game, let's just get right into it. Illinois travels to Lincoln, Nebraska. Two teams kind of on the upward trajectory right now. I do
Mhm.
have questions about Illinois' actual strength of schedule, though, because how good is Kansas? When Jalen Daniels is not playing good, Kansas is not a very good football team. And it seems like he has not been playing very well at all. So there are some concerns about that. On the Nebraska side, they just match up really well against Colorado, right? These are two teams that both CD and I believed in before the start of the season, and we were kind of all over it. We knew that this Nebraska defensive line was going to be awesome. We had a feeling that Illinois' offensive line and defensive whole entire aspect, that Aaron Henry led defense, was going to improve in some aspect. Here we are. They are, and Nebraska is a 9-point favorite right now at home, which may be a lot of points to some of you, but again, I challenge you to look at Illinois' strength of schedule right now. I know we thought Kansas might be really good entering the season, and they may be as Jalen Daniels gets more acclimated to playing football because of his injury. I just challenge you to look at the teams that they've played and what they've done against them. All right. And the same thing goes for Nebraska. So I think this is a tough game for me to read. This is not bettable for me at all, but I'm very intrigued to hear your thoughts on this game, CD. As our Big Ten guy,
Yeah. So last year, obviously, they played in Champaign there, and Nebraska went over on the road and kind of body bagged them. And this is a Nebraska team that was struggling early in the season, especially on their offense side of the ball, and they ran the ball very well. Heinrich Harburg was quarterback there. Obviously, Caden Fegan had not quite been going yet for Illinois. Same with Luke Altmaier, was still kind of feeling his rhythm. Both these guys and both these teams offensively look much different today this season than it did last year, right? So it's going to be a totally different football game. And Nebraska, obviously, after the impressive win against Colorado, but let's not forget. Listen, I know you said that about Kansas and Daniels, and you're absolutely right. Right, when Daniels is not throwing the ball well, or really when he has to throw the ball well, Kansas is a very beatable football team. We saw that last weekend as well with UNLV. Illinois did a really good job in that game. I thought game planning wise, I thought offensively, I was super, super impressed with Luke Altmaier. I do worry though, Nebraska's D line is really good. And I think Illinois might struggle to run the football. And Luke Altmaier is better off of play action. He throws a beautiful ball off of play action than he is when he has to drop back and pass. And that's what worries me, especially with how talented Nebraska is at getting after the quarterback. Right. So this game it's gonna be really awesome. So obviously Friday night, quote unquote standalone game, but you've got others there, obviously, and we'll be watching multiple of them. But Fox has it, and I know Memorial Stadium, it's a ranked matchup. They'll be ready to go after, impressive 2 weeks ago. Oh man, Dylan Raiola against Brett Bielema. It'll be interesting. Because I was really impressed. Obviously, Jalen Daniels is one of the better quarterbacks in college football when he's playing well and healthy, right? And he struggled against this Illinois team. Granted, it was on the road, so Illinois was hosting, and Raiola will have home field advantage, have the comfortability, not have to go on the road against the Illinois team. But that to me is going to be really interesting because obviously very excited to watch when Illinois has the ball and the defense that Nebraska brings to you. But to me, it's how can Dylan Raiola elevate this team and continue to play really, really good football, sound football, smart football, taking care of the football, right? All these good things that you don't necessarily see from a freshman quarterback. But now we're getting into conference play, and he has to be at his best, as continue to be at his best. It'd be awesome. So listen, if I had to make a pick, I'll go Nebraska to win, but I do not know if they can blow out Illinois, right? So I think it's gonna be a one-score game. I don't know if Nebraska will sweat, right? Like really sweat in this game, have to come from behind, but I do think Illinois will not go down without a fight. So we're picking this at what, 8.5,
we'll pick it at 9. Well, eight, let's pick it at
9.
eight and
Yeah.
a half. Eight and a half is good. I like that.
So we don't push. Yeah.
We
So
don't.
I'll go Nebraska to win, but Illinois to cover. Kind of middle it there.
Okay, I'm probably going to be the same with you right now. I do want to talk about Illinois' defense a little bit, though. 9 turnovers they forced in 3 games. That's pretty bonkers. 6 interceptions. That's third in the country. 3 forced fumbles. That's top 15, or 3 fumbles recovered. That's top 15 in the country for Illinois. So, is this Illinois defense just kind of being on the lucky side in the constant luck battle that is the turnover game sometimes. However, Luke Altmaier has also not put the ball in harm's way yet. What happens if he does? Right? That is its own issue. These are both two teams that are scoring on average more than 30 points a game, allowing less than 10 points per game. I like the way that both of these teams are playing right now. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think Nebraska's going to. In fact, when they played Colorado, they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. So I don't imagine this ever really being a blowout. And I do challenge, like, Aaron Henry gives some really nasty looks in the secondary. Like, what is Dylan Raiola's response going to be to some of those press man looks, those disguised man looks? Like, what is that going to look like through the lens of Dylan Raiola as a true freshman? I don't see Nebraska blowing this Illinois team up, but I do see Nebraska winning. So I'm with you. Give me Nebraska to win, Illinois to cover the 8.5.
Let me ask you this here. So you mentioned two quarterbacks. You mentioned the turnover, quote unquote luck, or I guess opportunistic style of offense and defense they've played. Dylan Raiola at home, right, against this Illinois opportunistic defense, or Altmaier going against a really good and talented defense with a very,
Yeah.
very good defense coordinator in their own right, too, on the
Yeah.
road. Obviously, Altmaier has the more experience, right? And maybe the better surrounding cast. I don't
No,
know. Zachariah Franklin has been awesome. Pat Bryant's really good.
it's an
I love
interesting it's an
Nebraska's.
interesting
I love Nebraska's
conversation.
offense.
It's an interesting
Yeah.
conversation because if you want to compare offensive lines, I might give Illinois the edge there, although I haven't seen enough from them this year to truly say that they've improved. Yeah, we've seen 3 games, but 3 games against teams that aren't necessarily have impact players in the defensive line the way that Nebraska does. Uh, I thought Nebraska's offensive line has played all right, and they've been able to run the ball more effectively than they were last year. I mean, neither of these defenses have allowed a rushing touchdown, by the way, this whole season. So I imagine that changing probably this game. Don't know what side. I don't know what side's going to break first, but I'd probably. Man, that's a really good question because I like Nebraska's wide receiver group. I like Illinois' wide receiver group. Probably the way that Illinois has been utilizing those offensive weapons. I'd probably give Illinois the edge there. But Nebraska, I think, gets a significant bump on the defensive side of the ball because of that front seven that they have. And, not to mention, their DBs are very underratedly athletic. Like, when I look at Nebraska's defense right now, I view them as a top 20, top 15 defense with room to grow. I seriously do. And I don't see that with Illinois, but I see vast improvement. I think we've seen it from this last year's team, which really struggled, especially in the secondary when they're trying to do things that they didn't necessarily have the talent to do. Now they have the talent to do it there. So really, really exciting game here. 11 a.m. Central kickoff. Cannot wait for this game.